have to be seen to be believed.
I'm going to be honest, I'm actually kind of gearing towards the all-out scrap prediction.
Yeah.
I really think this one might be a bit more of the unorthodox, because it's just two players that seem to have quite, I suppose, unpredictable styles. You know, like br1ck, he struggles, yes, but he has real moments of just crazy plays and these wicked decisions where it's there. The potential's there. You just need to tap into it as each week goes by. Sib, you know, you can definitely say he's got some stuff to prove after last week, and he's looking to do that today. And we'll see what happens, shall we? Let's get started here. America's game number 1, br1ck and Sib.
Well, let's get ready to ramble as it kicks off. Sib already going to have some sparks flying. Not the sparks he wants, though. Not the ones of victory. The ones of pain and punishment as br1ck beats him down to open it up. Oh, that was actually a really cinematic attack.
And now he's trying to beat him towards heavy. Has done massive damage to Sib. I guess the cherry on top might be that Sib perhaps denied the heavy. But now he's stuck in a very unfavorable position. One of the hardest places to survive. Someone lays the chokehold. Thankfully, the dire orb's in play to get him out of a bad position. Sib alive, but at what cost? He's very, very weak. There are a few health pickups, but yeah. Hesitant to jump down there until he knows where br1ck is, I think.
I like this though, Ryan. The approach already from br1ck has actually been fairly systematic and smart. We're a minute in. It's one frag for br1ck. Already a good early game start. Those normally tend to bode that he's going to have a good game if he actually comes in to the early game. Right now, set up in a poised position to try and do some damage. The rocket going to go out, whizzes by, doesn't actually tag on to Sib for the meantime. But he's pretty close to having everything he would want in his arsenal here. He has 5 rockets left, though, which could be a predicament depending on how this goes.
Well, the fight breaks out. Unfortunately, such is life as the Doomslayer. You can get caught trying to double jump around a corner and you're stuck in LG Town with no escape. It's not a very amazing position to be in, to be honest. You've got to be really careful with those double jumps because it's so easy to get caught in a bad position. It's like the balance, right? Really good against rockets, so the payoff is terrible against LG.
Yeah.
Doomslayer doesn't like having his feet off the ground, man.
Ooh. Bit of an awkward firefight between them both right now. br1ck not really taking much damage at all. He did get the Mega as well, so he's going to be fairly happy and confident in terms of the health. He actually goes for the wild reface there as well when he was so low. On the other hand, Sib backed off at the same time, so br1ck is able to rebuild up that stack, get himself into a better position, trying to go for the elevated jump back up as he wants to get himself back up on the high ground. He's now got 9 rockets. He's grabbed himself the extra armor as well, spotted out by Sib, firing down death from above. Ryan, is this where things get spicy?
Oh, br1ck, he's certainly got his foot on the gas pedal, but a lot of damage actually too. Wonderful damage with that heavy machine gun. Needs to try and beat him down towards. This definitely isn't a battle for Mega. This is just a battle to try and get some positioning, get some damage on deck. Sib doing a really good job of running away, and br1ck not really being at range to do significant damage. He is getting loads of damage from the machine gun, yeah, sure, but it is bit by bit here and there, right? There's a lot more that needs to be done. But br1ck maintaining a solid stack, and you know, Sib, he's not trying to give himself up, you know, super easily, and that's one of his plays, is that he knows br1ck's a lot more stacked, so he's not making it easy for him to just pick a fight, get a bunch of damage. You're noticing Sib is always outstacked, but his LG there a little bit better. br1ck quite weak now, fortunately. He is going to be near Mega. Not going to have time to get the heavy, though, if he sits here and waits for it.
Ooh. That could have been nice.
Had the audio cue, just pulled the trigger a bit too early. He had the right read, though. And, oh, damage. Sib, weak once more, but what's his escape option going to be? Finally picks up a frag, and Sib's going to fall. And 3 minutes and a half in, 2-0. And there it is, looking for the shot. But he's not very well stacked, and that's the thing to worry about. Now it's a bit more of a defensive game, trying to sit around, and once you've got sufficient information, restack, try and take a fight a little bit later. Not right now. And he knows he's coming in for the heavy. Fight's going to break out, and it's going to get chased. Wonderful rocket, but he needs a lot more than that. This should be a refrag. And he's got no rockets! Oh, no! Ooh. And he swaps the rocket again. Muscle memory must have kicked in. That's, you know, the sound you hate to hear, that click.
Yeah, meaning you got no ammunition, you just can't frag out. Instead, they instantly fall back into chaos, though. br1ck, he does have an extra little bit of HP to fight with. They are going to be jumping back in, but his arsenal isn't quite as strong, firing down from above. Sib, tremendously low at this point. Surely he's just got to back off and cancel out on this one. He does use the dire orb for the escape.
But he has no idea that the health bubbles weren't around. He has minimal health to come back. If Brick had a little bit more, I guess, hindsight to chase, he would have probably been able to take it down, but he opts to try and get a little bit of control instead.
Wow.
And with the control, he uses a rocket to make it 3-1. And here we go. Brick looking good, actually. Is this the time we start to see some maps falling through the crevices?
It could finally be the time that hashtag Brick was freed rather than hashtag free Brick, as he seems like he is coming for a victory here. 3-1, grabs himself the armor, a very hefty stack, as he's looking like a chunky boy right now. He can definitely do an awful lot of damage and soak some damage as well. Goes back in, headbutts against Sib, as they are going to duke it out. All of the damage coming through. He is in an attempt to get himself out of there. Brick can trace this though. He's constantly hitting him, and that is going to be another elimination as he pummels him down, getting himself a 4th on the board now, Ryan.
I worry that Sib is overstaying his welcome quite regularly, also using his Dire Orb, and if it doesn't really secure him a frag, or even a favourable position, he's still kind of sticking around. I feel like sometimes if the orb doesn't work out, and that may have been a bad rocket jump, but he got some decent rocket damage in return to force Sib away temporarily. No, my point was, I think Sib is kind of sticking around a bit too long, you know? I like to see him sort of run away a little bit when he knows it's going a bit south. He's kind of giving up some of these frags, and he's not hitting his mark. He's not hitting the rockets for huge damage. He's getting out LG'd almost every single time. And we see there's still plenty of time to make these adaptations, though. And will it be enough? Caught in the air! Rocket's going to miss, though. Once more Brick. A common issue, though, ammo conservation. He's been out of rockets more than I think anyone we've seen today.
Yeah, he really has been leaving himself high and dry pretty much constantly with that rockets. He's still going for the shootout as well. This time, luckily, he will be able to restock as the spawn just comes back in the nick of time. Already down to 6 rockets, however. There is a crate there if he wants to try and grab it. Instead, pushes the agenda, grabbing himself the Mega, throwing himself now straight back into the fray once more.
Brick has been kind of just running this circuit so far. I feel actually a lot of these locations have been kind of unchallenged too. He's been getting the heavy and the Mega, and it's reached a point where Sib is kind of far behind, so I think he's a bit more reluctant to consistently stick around with these big pickups, but that's one of the issues he's been finding, right? Brick has been consistently just outstacking him because of this control, you know, because he's been sitting around on these pickups. And oh, he knows he's there, but oh my god, he finally hits the 100. And yeah, Sib, nothing you can do to survive there. Doesn't matter that he's out of rockets, because he can just collect it from Sib. Generous donation there.
This actually very much could be the first time we see Brick pick up a map here right now. As at this point, he is actually doing damage versus Sib. He's hungry for another kill as well. Burning his way through him. Sib barely getting away.
If that was any other champion, dare I say, he might have suicided off that one. But thankfully, Ranger with the less self-damage, the rocket against the wall wasn't punishing enough to finish it off. But again, Brick, he's out of LG ammo as well. He's consistently running out of ammo, and I think that's actually one of the things that's really holding him back. Not the end of the world, though, because he's actually still alive, and he's still got a sizable lead here, but he is consistently running out of ammunition.
Oh, the spam coming around, trying to make do with what he can out of the weapons he actually has available to him right now. Sib, instead, going on a bit of a mission, a scavenger hunt, if you will, to try and restock himself. The rockets are coming down and bombarding right next to him, and that's going to be a direct hit as well, as he gets KO'd by Brick.
Looking real good for Brick right now. Less than 2 minutes on the clock, a chunky lead. And Sib just really, I think, struggling to maybe find his footing here. I feel like this is essentially what's going on is just Brick constantly just waiting for Sib to go around corners, land some rocket damage, going for the kill. I feel like Sib has been just playing from behind even before there was a sizable frag difference, you know? Like, Brick's been the one in control pretty much the entire time.
With not too much time left at all here, Ryan, it is going to be rough if Sib's going to do anything. This should very well be the map secured, done and dusted, and put in the bag for Brick, as all he's got to do is basically sit and wait to finally claim his prize and get that delicious taste of victory.
It'll be, if anything, a momentum shift, isn't it? You know, I think if it reaches a point where you're pretty unsuccessful in Pro League, any win that you can get it's just good for morale, and he gets a trade. That's just, if anything, good morale for Brick, and maybe a little bit tilting for Sib, where look, you finally have a chance, and bam, there's the rocket stolen away, so you can't even stop the bleeding. You know, this is definitely a map that needs to be kind of erased from Sib's memory. And he gets surprised here, even in that situation, takes the damage and was kind of struggling to see where he was taking the damage from. This should be a frag, Brick's going to fall, but like I said, 30 seconds on the clock, loads of frags left to go. This should by all accounts be Brick's win here.
Yeah, there's no way he can really turn this one upside down his head. He might be able to at least make it a little bit closer, but that is basically it. And no, that's not even going to happen. Brick will overthrow him, hits him with a backbreaker, and leaves Sib lifeless on the ground. Or could be the potential for a ring out here, though. He's getting very close to the mark, but it's another kill for Brick. Brick is on a roll right now.
This should, by all means, end on a 3-9. Unless he gets one more direct rocket, but yeah, he's not going to make it easy. This game's going to be over. Brick gets a win. And if anything, yeah, it's just a matter of just saying, look, we're in a position to get some wins here. It's better than nothing. And let's try and take with this what we can. Because again, it's worth mentioning that for me, this is a battle of just players, two players that could definitely, I think, be in sort of relegation territory by the end of this. And if you can avoid that situation, you know, I think a 3-0, for example, let's say on all accounts, maybe Brick can get a 3-0. That's automatically, you know, he's kind of sitting at the bottom of this leaderboards with not a lot of points. The moment you get the bonus of a 3-0, then that's instantly, it changes. You know, it just completely changes everything. But that's on account of maybe a 3-0. We've only just started this series, and yeah, I've got to say, tidy play from Brick. I feel like he was actually the one that was the dominant force throughout the entirety of the map. Sib looked a little bit unsure of himself in some of these fights. Yeah, like overstaying his welcome a few times, sticking around a little bit too long, giving up a lot of damage, and by the time he decided to get out, it's too late. You know, he's taken too much damage and there's no escape. But yeah, that was just one map. Should be going into Blood Run now, and I do think I do strongly feel that Sib kind of has the champion advantage. We're going into a Blood Run. Sib has selected Clutch. It's going to be Clutch versus Sorlag. I will always rate Clutch on this map. I think he has a distinct advantage versus most, if not, you know, if not all champions. You know, when Clutch is on a map that he works on, it feels like quite a few champions can't really bring it to him. And if you're in the hands of someone nice and capable, then it's just an advantage to have, especially in a competitive setting. Maybe this is the key to give Sib a map win in return, make it a 1-1.
Yeah, well, it's the fact that, you know, right then and there, that is the first win we've seen for Brick so far over the course of this Quake Pro League, so it's a start. It's a base point that he can now build from and put himself potentially even deeper into the runnings, right? You know, we're saying this one could be a 3-0. You know, he's got to walk before he can run. That's the opening at least, right? You finally got a map on the board. Actually looking pretty darn good. As we've said, like, as the weeks have gone by, the early game from Brick has looked pretty good. Like, some of the rails he's been hitting have looked sick. Some of the way he's actually been approaching the game has been nice to watch. The LG looked on point there. The rockets were hitting quite nicely. And then to top all that, it's the fact that Sib doesn't seem to look like Sib. I don't know. It's weird. It does feel like he's kind of put himself in a box a little bit, maybe. The confidence that he did have just doesn't seem to be coming to light. Yeah,
it kind of looked a little bit like he was kind of unsure of himself in a lot of those exchanges where he would kind of almost like half commit.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those kind of situations almost kind of look like half commitment, where he kind of decides to go for a play, doesn't really look like his heart's in it, and by the time he's kind of realised, maybe I'm not going to do this, he's taken loads of damage and he's kind of stuck in no man's land, and he takes a whole bunch of damage and Brick just collects, you know. Whether that continues to happen, I guess, remains to be seen. Map 1 can sometimes just be so write-offable, if that's even a word. If it isn't, I just invented it.
It is now.
It is now.
Yeah.
It is now. But yeah, if it's map number 1 and things weren't favourable to you, then discard it. It's useless information, and you've got 2 more maps left to go.
Yeah, well, you can't, that's the thing, right? Especially as Quake being such a mental game as it is, if you try and get in your own head too much and just sort of constantly assist and go over what has just occurred, you're just going to be beating yourself over for nothing. There's no point to approach it like that. For Brick, however, definitely live off the high. You've just taken that first map. That's going to be you a little bit more pumped up. You'd imagine some of the shots you were hitting are already translating back into this one. Sorlag, the main man, let's see if his boy can do some damage, as already he is landing those rails.
I'll actually have you know that Sorlag is a she.
Oh, well,
yeah.
there you go.
She's a big lizard lady.
She is indeed.
She's got good movement, man. I remember it's a far cry from, you know, the days of old. Sorlag kind of ruled the roost for a long time.
Yeah.
Her movement combined with Anaki's was incredibly dangerous, and now the movement's kind of been turned around into just, you know, map-specific picks. I really love this change of the rotation system. By the way, here comes a full frag fight, and it trades 1-to-1. And it all comes down to the spawn. Oh, what a spawn for Sib. Oh my god, give me that juice. Give me all these weapons. And yeah, Brick, he's going to have to show respect. He knows that if Sib spawned up there, he's going to have the rocket, he's going to have the rail. I've got LG, yeah, but who cares? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Has to put a lot of faith in the rail. And even during the downtime, yeah, Sib doesn't want to dedicate. Very crucial that Brick hit those 2 rails.
Uh-oh. This could make it more awkward, though. They're strapped back into it. Look how low he is!
barely alive. Barely alive indeed. Oh no! Too predictable, and Sib using the SSG to full effect. Give me that Daisy.
Oh, this is rough, Ryan. Already this one's looking to be kind of the scrap we predicted, I think.
Yeah, I was literally
going to be the battle, right?
I was about to say the same thing, the full-on, like, scrap. And he's got the rocket jump. Not a bad decision. If that rocket hit its mark just a little bit extra, he actually might have seen a frag there. But either way, 2-2, and dare I say a rather explosive 2-2.
Slow style, though. Both of them instead going to opt to just change the tempo a little bit. You don't need to be as aggressive and courageous as they have been previously. They're tied up. It's 2-2 apiece already. That's quite a lot of damage done early on into the game. Ooh. Nice read there, though, from Brick.
Yeah, Brick just kind of covering his bases and making sure there wasn't too much threat. And now, actually, yeah, there's a lot of respect there from Sib. Has to give up the Mega and the damage and the knowledge that he's actually where he thinks he is. And that's going to be heavy, too. Sib for another time, giving up control, but sitting on the angle, just needed to hold it for a couple of seconds extra, and he would have been alright. I think his walking around is making sound, though. Brick knows where he is. That jump pad's definitely made noise. Sib, though, looks very much like he has no idea where Brick has gone. But does that matter? We'll see how much that matters soon. He has somewhat giving up this Mega, and the angle that Brick hit made himself hard to rail as often as possible. Yeah, it feels like Sib, he's having a hard time getting a read, actually, on where Brick's going to try and go. And while he gives up all these pickups, he's out of control. He hasn't got as much stack. They're too heavy, so their stack is identical almost. And, yeah, I'm kind of tricky for Sib. He's trying to almost, like, get some information, and he's completely struggling to find that information.
Sib pounding his way around, firing out the warning shots, hoping to at least connect something here and do some damage. In the meantime, though, Brick has got complete control of the map. He's stocking up on everything and being able to gain most of the things that he wants to scavenge, do some damage to himself to try and deny the armor pickup, which he should get here still.
Oh, he's looking for it, and he gets it! Hello. Gets that chunky little seam through the map. That's the thing about this level of play, like those kind of tricks that you can do, the thing about it is that everyone knows about it. Yeah. You know, these kind of tricks, every competitive player that plays at this level knows about that kind of technique. So it's almost like the fact that it's, I suppose, a hole through the wall. I wouldn't really consider it anything other than just a tactic that high-level players can use. They all have the same understanding. It's just another angle that you have to show respect to.
Well, talking about showing respect, this is where they are going to get into a duel. So let's see who is going to come out on top as they battle their way through. Sib definitely with the advantage, even further now as he's landing some filthy rails. Gets Brick incredibly low, but Brick has been able to back off. He didn't have to die today.
Taking minimal damage thanks to a nail jump rather than rocket jump. Nice little bit of optimization there from Sib, but couldn't finish it. And that's the problem, is that he couldn't quite finish the frag, giving Brick a chance to restack. That said, the stack is kind of too large to ignore here. Sib an easy pick up there, 3-2. Now, we saw base earlier on. We've seen what Clutch can do on Blood Run once the momentum starts to pick up.
Ooh. A little bit of a tag, a love bite, although it's going to be the trade that comes across. Brick with the suicide basically leaves it in a stalemate with nothing really changing, as he does equalize it overall, leaving it back into a 3-2.
Sib took a lot of damage, undoing most of that heavy. We're now halfway through, and I'm kind of expecting somewhat of a slow one here, Jackie. I think they're being super patient. No one wants to kind of give up too much here, do they? But it's also a matter of, you know, you've got these two heavy champions. There's a lot of work to whittle the health down before you can feel, you know, confident enough to go in for the kill. That said, might have another fight on our hands. Sib has got the movement. Missing some of these rockets, though. Does he stand in? Not quite. Oh, he's going in full speed ahead! Going in for the punish. Now he's trying to get as much bonus damage as he can off the Mega, and in fact gets a sizable amount on the flip side, actually. Yeah, and I feel like we're going to start to see Sib play this hyper-defensive runaway game. And this is actually more reminiscent of what you expect to see from Clutch. This is what Clutch does. He, in Blood Run in particular, can use that movement to just run away for 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, however long you kind of sit on a lead. And we can really see signs of that now. Gets tickled by the tri-bolt. Not enough to really worry just yet, but it's why Sib isn't shy of giving up those pickups. He's happy for him to have Mega, because he wants to play this runaway game. Thing is Brick going to be able to put a lid on it, or is he going to be chasing ghosts for just over 3 minutes now.
Yeah, it's worrying stuff. I mean, Sib really can afford to just play the delay game and just bound around and be a bit of a sprinter in this scenario and make it so hard for Brick to actually get back into the action. For Brick, he needs to constantly try and push the agenda and go in for the fight. Looks to try and get himself an opener here, though. The rail is ready. Going to go in with a rocket. Misses on both, unfortunately, and takes a ton of damage himself as well. So this doesn't really go the way he wanted it to, as he does get confrontation versus Sib.
It's not being evenly split either. You know, Sib is consistently getting the heavy unchallenged, of which he's actually going to go in and try and go in for the shield wall, but he can't get the trade. He hits as much damage as possible, but I mean, that damage reduction, it makes a big difference here. But Sib surrounded by health bubbles, so the restack is not a problem here.
Ooh.
Hits the rail, and using the dash just to cover some more distance. I feel like we're going to be seeing this for the rest of the map. To be honest, now it's going to get even worse because we have the 2 frags rather than 1. Even getting 1 successful chase down isn't going to be the be-all end-all. We need to get a lot more where that came from. Chasing it all the way. Falls victim to the SSG. Misses a shot, but hits the money shot on the rocket. Doesn't even matter that he missed the SSG at that point. And the frag lead is starting to completely separate. And this is what Clutch will do. You know, this is why this champion on this map is so strong, and it's why he's so bannable all the time. Looking for the air. Alright, finally loses a frag. Okay. What's the spawn going to be? Can Brick capitalize? There's no shield wall. Going to spawn just near the nail, it looks like. That's going to be undone. Definitely can't count out Brick, but the problem is he needs to chase Clutch enough to get this. Hang on a minute. Springs the trap with the acid spit. Better than nothing. It's not a huge amount of damage though. The shield. Oh no, and he chases it because he knows he has to, but it's so risky with the health that he doesn't have. And yeah, Brick going for a bit of a Hail Mary there, saying I'm going to follow through the teleporter and maybe I'll get something off this. But if not, it's a bleak situation anyway. Got to try something.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to be in an awkward spot no matter what, so you can understand his thought process there behind going for the quite bold play. If it would have worked out, obviously we would have been praising him for it. Instead, it doesn't really go down like that. And now he's really starting to fall out of luck in the server at the moment, seeming like Sib's probably going to get himself a 7th frag, and it most likely will end somewhere around there as well, as Brick just doesn't have the time to claw himself back into the game. So, a split series so far could definitely be what's on the cards.
No! Oh, right as Brick just goes for one of those kind of like prediction rockets, accidentally shoots the wall right as he gets hit by a rail. I think that is one of the least expected suicides Brick could have constantly looked at. And there's the combo. Shield wall just isn't a damage reduction. Press F again and you can activate the secondary fire, the super LG.
Ooh. Mid-air rails coming back out. Sib right now at this point just looking to try and get a couple of extra frags for the highlight reel, as it seems like it is set in stone that they will split it and go 1-1 at this point. Brick, he let it slip. He had a good early game, but unfortunately that time around it was all he had.
Yeah, and it's we've definitely hit the point of no return, so this map's going to be over. Likely going to be an 8-2, maybe a 9-2 if we can squeeze in 1 more bonus frag, but let's just get some bonus stats. We're going to try and finish it. He's making it not easy. And hang on a minute. Oh, he gets the flick anyway. What a shot. And that's going to be 9-2. GG is right, Brick. It's now going to be a 1-1. And we're going to be in an interesting position to see how the final map's going to go. It's going to be Molten Falls. It's going to be an entirely different matchup. But yeah, that's why Clutch in the hands of a talented player is so scary. We saw it throughout EU and CIS. And we saw it repeat again today in the Americas.
Yeah, just showing, giving us the 101 there of the Clutch movement, of why he has such an edge in so many different scenarios. But that time, Sib looking a whole lot more awake, just actively going into combat. More so just looking commanding, rather than what we saw before, where, as you said, it was kind of a little bit sort of half-baked, 50-50 on if he actually wanted to go for it or not, if it was just a gamble. Didn't look like he was actually very confident in his own plays. Here, he was just going in. And when he went in hard.
Yeah, it was actually, we saw shades of that at the very beginning of Blood Run because it was so back and forth, and then, you know, the moment Sib had his momentum, and I know Clutch is a big part of that, where the moment he has a huge stack over you and you kind of play that defensive game, I feel like he kind of almost has the upper hand because you are forced to come to him. You know, the moment a champion exists that forces a certain playstyle or situation out of the opponent, kind of against their will,